is Alexander. Shabbat for three. Bingo!
Carter will get it for the win. Got it! He is hard to believe.
Here's Jordan.
Yes! The Magic, a 360 turn with the dribble. Magic down the middle. Gives underneath to Worthy. Slam dunk. Third in the corner. Double fake.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Dime Dropper, another season preview for the 2021-2022 NBA season. For this one, we are going to be talking I'm sorry if your team is included in this, but the bottom feeders, or the bottom of the barrel of the NBA, teams that I don't think are either that interesting or just not good. Starting with we have a sympathizer or a fan of sorts. Part of our Dime Dropper production team, my good friend TC, coming on to talk Sacramento Kings.
Yep, that's right. Big Sacramento Kings fan. I also like the Lakers, but I am partial to the Kings. I have been for like a decade now. And yeah, they are definitely bottom feeders. They definitely qualify.
So they have some interesting, exciting things to look forward to, though. De'Aaron Fox, one of my favorite, I think, players in the league now. I mean, I've been a fan of his since I saw him absolutely destroy my dad and I guess one of my teams, UCLA Bruins basketball, Lonzo Ball and TJ Leaf. He absolutely went crazy. I think it was the Sweet 16 with Malik Monk.
Yeah,
and ever since that moment, we went to go see him live.
Yeah.
Lakers Kings 2017-18 season.
That was a good game.
Yeah, that was a fun regular season game. Julius Randle played well. We watched. De'Aaron has grown every year in this league. Tyrese Halliburton, my favorite player from last year's draft class, because he said he's a fan of the Magic Man.
He's special.
So tell me what he was like last season. You watched him a lot more than me. So
He played off the ball a lot because he played alongside De'Aaron, but a lot of the time De'Aaron sort of ceded him the ball and ceded him the playmaking abilities because he's such a good reader of the floor. He's got a high basketball IQ, and even though he came in at 20 years old, he pretty much earned the respect of his teammates like halfway through the season, and he became a leader. So
yeah, I think he's gonna be very interesting going forward. Obviously, the new rookie Davion Mitchell.
Yeah.
So people have talked about and shared videos of him playing defense in summer league and preseason and practices. Seems like he's very, a go-getter.
Yeah.
Do you think? How big of an impact do you think he can make? Is he going to be? What's the predicted starting lineup for the Kings here? Do we have anything to look forward to here?
Well, I think the talk is that they're going to do a 3-guard lineup with Davion out there, and he's pretty much the shortest of him, Tyrese, and De'Aaron, so he would probably be guarding the point guard of the opposite team, and then De'Aaron will get the 2. Maybe Tyrese will get the 3. I don't know, because Tyrese is pretty much the lankiest of the 3. But Davion, with his intensity, he could really help this team. The defense has been the biggest issue for years, especially under Luke Walton. But if you have a 3-guard lineup, it might be null and void because they could just get totally taken advantage of.
Do you think so? Does that mean Harrison Barnes comes off the bench, or
no? He'll come in, but he'll be playing the 4, and then Rashawn Holmes at the 5.
So Buddy Hield to the bench.
Buddy Hield to the bench for sure.
He'd be a good 6-man though.
He would be.
I think this team has some potential. Honestly, other bench pieces. Terrence Davis. Raptors fans actually spoke pretty highly of him.
He's a good player off the bench.
How could you be Mo Harkless? He was good for the Clippers. I think he's a serviceable role player off the bench.
Definitely.
And then, is Corey Joseph still on the team? No Corey Joseph?
No Corey Joseph. He was pretty mediocre.
So, part of the Kings' stigma or thing right now, or bad run of luck going for them, I mean, the last time they made the playoffs was the first year I was watching basketball, 05-06. People just it's kind of like the Clippers used to be. People just think it's the Kings. They won't make the playoffs. Is there any reason to think that they can make the play-in? Top 10 seeds? Because let me tell you where I have them right now, and then you can tell me what you think. I have them right now as the 13 seed. I think they could be better than the Spurs. I think they could be better than the Pels and the Wolves, and definitely, honestly, get into that 10 spot. But let me ask you what you think.
I think if they stay healthy and they take a step ahead, take a step forward defensively from where they were last year, I think that's really all they need to make it into the playoffs, because the previous 2 years, last year they were pretty close to making that play-in, and the year before, before the pandemic happened,
very good.
They were definitely on their way to making the playoffs. They were surging at the end of that season. So I think if Davion comes in and brings a heightened defensive intensity, I think that could really be the difference there.
De'Aaron played defense when I see him play. Does he?
Yeah,
he's good.
Yeah, he's a good defender. Rashawn Holmes is a good defender. Harrison Barnes can hold his own.
Okay, so, is Luke Walton still the coach?
Yeah, he's still the coach.
All right, so we'll see. Marvin Bagley, I'm going to end it with that. Is there any hope? This was the second pick in the draft.
I've honestly, I think the ship has sailed for him long ago. I liked him coming in as a rookie, but I soured on him pretty quickly because he does not play defense well at all. He's one of the worst defenders in the league, second to probably Buddy Hield.
Really?
Yeah, he's abysmal defensively, and then his shot selection offensively is really bad. He kind of just makes his decision on what he's going to do before he gets the ball.
Okay.
And sometimes he'll make it, and it'll be a nice move, but he just rarely passes, honestly.
Man, so gonna be tough. De'Aaron Fox, though, I just want to say to the viewers, 25 points a game, 7 assists last season. Like, those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Those are some all-star numbers.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of wild that he hasn't been an all-star yet, but he is on the Kings.
this is his going into his 5th season here.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. I finished with the Kings. Yeah, 13th. What do you think about them? Where they're placing?
I think because I saw you had the Wolves and the Spurs ahead of them. I think they'll finish ahead of both of them. I think they're also better than the Pels. I think they could easily get in.
They do have a better roster than the Pels overall, in my opinion. I think so too.
I think they could easily get in at 10 or 9.
All right. Well, would you be disappointed if they don't get a playing spot?
I will be.
Okay. We'll see. Sacramento Kings. TC, thanks for coming on to the show.
Of course.
Hopefully see you back again. We'll see you behind the scenes.
Sure.
For our next part, or for the remainder of the episode, we're going to have a guest that you guys are very familiar with. He's a Knicks fan, but he won't be talking Knicks this time. We're going to go through the rest of the bottom feeders. From our production team, it's Lucas Lyon.
What's going on, D? Thanks for having me back. It's nice to be here.
Nice to be here as well, of course. Thanks for joining us. Obviously people gave us really good feedback on your video, so
Yeah.
wanted to hear your take on some other teams. So let's start with the team that I have finishing as the worst team in the league, and that's the Orlando Magic. I don't really have much to say about them. Obviously, Jalen Suggs coming in from Gonzaga, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Magic just have people that should have turned out better and didn't. Like Michael Carter-Williams, Mo Bamba, Markelle Fultz, Terrence Ross. They're just whatever players. You're gonna have a couple highlights. I've always been a Cole Anthony fan. I think he might have a decent year and get some minutes, especially with a team that's not great. But then also, if Jalen Suggs plays well, he's definitely gonna get minutes over him. Terrence Ross will get minutes over him. Markelle Fultz. So maybe he'll be some good, trade pieces or something. But that's all the Magic are going to be. They're going to be trade pieces and bottom feeders and the occasional Terrence Ross highlight. So,
Yeah, Jonathan Isaac, though, when he comes back, it should be.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what's happening with the Orlando Magic with the whole COVID thing, but,
Florida, though, he'll be able to play home games, though.
Oh, true.
So Jonathan Isaac, he's a good player. I just don't think that it's a work in progress. They have Gary Harris I'm looking at now. They traded Aaron Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
They traded Vucevic. They got Wendell Carter.
Do you think for this young developing team, and then this will be the last we talk about the Magic because nobody wants to talk about the Magic, let's be real.
Yeah. Sorry, Magic fans. If you guys I've never actually had a Magic fan I remember in my stream. So
No.
if you are a Magic fan, come on, make yourself heard.
Do you think Jonathan Isaac and everything that's happened with him, the vaccine and all of this stuff in the NBA sphere, not the Florida sphere, but the NBA sphere as itself, do you think that's going to be a distraction for the younger players on the team? Because this is going to be a young team for the foreseeable future, and he is kind of the vet on the team, so to speak.
Nah, I don't think it's relevant either. I think it's going to be losing a lot of games.
Uh-oh.
I think they're going to be losing a lot of games. It'll be nice to see. This is a franchise that could have had Tobias Harris, Oladipo still. I mean, traded Oladipo for Serge Ibaka. I mean, and they could have still had Vucevic, all three of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
they had moments where they were good last year.
Whatever.
But
sorry, Magic fans. Do you think they're going to be the worst team in the Eastern Conference?
Probably. The East is getting better. and they're probably the only team in the East that didn't get any better at all whatsoever. I think they only got worse over the course of the last season and the off season. So, yeah, tough scenes for the Orlando Magic.
Let's go to another franchise that's been tough scenes for a long time. A franchise that when we were kids was a feared organization, the Detroit Pistons. They have something going for them now with no more Drummond, no more Blake Griffin. Now they have number 1 pick Cade Cunningham, but he is not ready to start the season, I believe. So, what's your thoughts on them, if any?
I mean, Killian Hayes isn't going to be ready to start the season. Cade Cunningham's not going to be ready to start the season. Was it Jeremy Grant?
Oh, yeah, Jeremy Grant's a good player. He came off the best season of his career.
Okay, but everyone was like, oh, Jeremy Grant. It's either Jeremy Grant or Julius Randle for most improved player. And I think one of the reasons why Julius won it over Jeremy Grant is because he had the emptiest stats I've ever seen. Your team's not winning games. At the end of the day, he left Denver to score more points and play more minutes on a losing team.
And it was the same amount of money.
Same amount of money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's tough scenes for the Detroit Pistons. JJ Redick's always clowning them on the old man in the 3. He says it's one of the worst places to play. I mean, they play in like the Little Caesars Arena, right?
That's a new stadium, though, man.
Yeah, but
Brand
it's called
new.
the Little Caesars Arena, dude.
Oh, my
like,
God.
It's just another team where it's just tough scenes for the Detroit Pistons.
How the mighty have fallen. Shout out to Chase, if you're watching this, man. Pistons fan that we had on the show talk about the Lions when we traded Stafford for Goff. If you guys remember that episode. I got them finishing 14th.
No,
Second worst team in the East. Let's go to the other side, though, for a second. I got the Houston Rockets as the worst team in the Western Conference. Second pick, Jalen Green. They actually do have potential to finish higher than that, though. I think Christian Wood is not a bad player.
You don't know you don't know how these young prospects are going to play. I mean, I definitely don't think they're going to win anything in the West. They might be the 15th seed, they might be the 14th seed, maybe the 13th seed at the absolute highest.
Yeah, I don't see them getting close to a play-in situation.
I think that they're going to be a fun team to watch because they got Kenyon Martin Jr., they got Kevin Porter Jr., they got Christian Wood, Josh Christopher, Jalen Green. So these are all players that have been really good and really fun to watch. Obviously, Jalen Green and Josh Christopher have been in the media for a while, in high school, college, G League, whatever it may be. And they're just fun players to watch. So I think they're going to be a fun nothing team to watch.
Jayshawn Tate is another one.
Mm-hmm.
They got some young talent there, honestly. Jayshawn Tate, KPJ, fight on.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel House.
They got some players that can get into their bag and have fun.
I used to love John Wall. I mean, he was one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
But I just think that I love John Wall. I hate to say this, but he's washed now. I think after the injury, it's just he doesn't have that same explosion. He was never a great jump shooter, and his game was a lot of explosion. And he's the fact that he's not efficient in today's NBA with so much space, even though his team probably didn't have as good of spacing as others.
He also wants out. Like they mutually want to find another place for him. So I hope John Wall finds his place because growing up, we all love John Wall.
Yeah, he's one of the most electric players to watch.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got the Rockets finishing the bottom of the West. Any objection?
No, sir.
All right, the second worst team in the West, in my opinion, is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. Even though they have one of my favorite players, former Clipper, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Josh Giddey is an exciting one that Asher was talking about a lot. I know he wanted to talk about him, but
Josh Giddey, he just seems like, it's another young team. SGA is amazing. He's so good. I think Giddey's going to be... If the Thunder play well this season, I think if the Thunder get anywhere above like the 12th seed, maybe above the if they get the 12th seed up, I think Josh Giddey is going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate, regardless. But he's something special. I think you look at the players that come in after playing professional ball overseas, and they come in with a different poise and attitude towards the game. You have Luka and LaMelo, and you have the resurgence of foreign players coming into the league. They have a different idea of how to play the sport.
Yeah.
And just because basketball, I mean, you've talked about this. Basketball's taught differently in Europe and in Australia and stuff like that. So I'm really interested to see how he integrates into the league. Josh Giddey integrates into the league. But yeah, other than SGA and Giddey, who's gonna watch the Thunder?
Yeah, I mean, Lou Dort, Darius Baisley, Isaiah Roby, Pokashevsky. They have some young talent to look forward to, but his team has got so many picks, man.
Yeah. I always forget that Pokashevsky. That's how you say his name, right?
Yeah, I think so.
He's 7'1".
No way. No
Dude,
chance.
He's at least 6'11". I'm almost certain.
Yeah, he's 7 feet. Damn, that's
Dude
crazy.
he plays
doesn't
like a
look
point guard.
He's 6'8".
He plays like a point guard. Dude does not step inside the key. He doesn't barely steps inside the 3-point line. So,
We'll see. I think SGA though is gonna have, one of the best. He's gonna have the best season of his career. He'll average like
absolutely
25 points a game.
at least. He's gonna have to.
So I got them second to last. What do you think?
Yeah, second to last.
All right, we already obviously. I got the Kings 13th as I said when we had TC. I'm gonna go with. I had the Spurs 12th. They don't have LaMarcus Aldridge anymore. Lost Rudy Gay. Lost DeMar DeRozan. They do have Lonnie Walker, DeJounte Murray,
Keldon Johnson, right?
Keldon Johnson, Jakob Poeltl, who I saw this summer and talked to briefly. What's your thoughts on them? Still got Pop around.
I mean, I've always been a big Spurs, sympathizer, appreciator. Like, I've always loved watching the Spurs. And I think that
Zach Collins on the Spurs now.
Yeah, I think it's time to move on. I think Pop is probably going to retire soon. It just seems like that. The powerful Spurs are now knocked off their throne. They aren't this, kids today aren't going to know the Spurs as this absolute powerhouse that we know them as. I mean, before a year ago, how many times did we see the Spurs miss the playoffs?
That was the last. I think that was the first time they did
exactly.
miss the playoffs.
They had
the bubble season they didn't make.
Yeah, so before that they had 20, 22, 21 straight seasons of making the playoffs. 20 straight seasons of making the playoffs.
At least 20.
So, I think the Spurs are in a heavy rebuild. I hope they turn it around because they're a really great franchise. It's really great when they are dominant in the West. And
is it now?
And is it that they're great when they're dominant in the West?
I'd rather them not be good. They've been had their chance, and it's not like the Knicks or the Celtics or the Bulls or the Lakers.
Yeah, but I always liked seeing, and obviously if Popovich retires and whatnot, then it'd be different. But I always liked seeing the really not almost flawless, true basketball that the Spurs played in the playoffs. That was so fun as a true basketball fan and as a kind of a hoop head.
That's Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony.
Obviously, yeah, exactly.
That's they've made it championship basketball.
Yeah, but that's also Pop, and then
for sure,
that team was that whole team. So it's kind of a little sad to see the Spurs where they are now, just because it was something to look forward to. I remember when they lost to the Grizzlies in the playoffs. That was a shock. But I just think that other than like Lonnie Walker and DeJounte Murray and Keldon Johnson, they're pretty much an irrelevant team.
I have them finishing 12th. I think that depending on if an important player gets injured, they could be even worse and just tank all the way and Pop announces retirement, honestly. I got them finishing 12th, though. But I honestly think that also Spurs fans, I've never seen a Spurs fan in my life, but if you are, shout out to you Spurs fans. I got you guys I could see you guys finishing 10th or 9th, honestly, because it's the Spurs. They always find a way. I'm just like, I put a little bit of what I want as well with these, because some of these you just don't know. A lot of it just comes down to who's more healthy these days in this league. Anyway, I got the Spurs 12th. What about you? You got them? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'd say anywhere between 12th and 10. I don't think they're gonna get anywhere above 10. I think there's a possibility they make the play-in game and they lose. But yeah, they're not going to be a really relevant team this year. Lonnie Walker might do a couple really nice plays, and they have young talent that I think isn't going to be there very long. I think that a lot of these players are probably going to look elsewhere because they want to play on winning teams, and the Spurs aren't a winning team anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy to hear that out of your mouth. The Spurs aren't a winning team anymore. But anyway, we could be wrong, though. We never know. 82-game season again, which is going to be unreal. And they have young players that won't be resting or load managing, obviously, even though the Spurs are like the originators of that. But I will say about the Spurs, when they did it, they were old. Yeah. Tim Duncan, Tony, and Manu were old.
Yeah, they weren't.
Wasn't in their prime in the middle of the season. They also usually towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do when you've already... I mean, the Spurs were always, top 4 seed, top 3 seed, and they're going to rest Tim Duncan for his like 78th game when they've already locked in their seed. What's the point of playing him? You've already,
Yeah, I just remember that one notorious time against the Heat. I think it was like 2014 when they had come off the finals and he did it. That was just a fucked up move by Pop. But
it was.
Anyway, that's, by the way, so guys, that concludes my Western Conference previews. I really hope you enjoyed. Obviously, Clippers and Lakers still coming tomorrow. But here are my final standings as I'll read them off to you guys. 15th, Houston. 14th, OKC. 13th, Sacramento. 12, San Antonio. 11, New Orleans. In the play-in spots, I got the Wolves at 10. I got the Grizzlies at 9. I got the Blazers finishing 8th. I got my Clippers finishing 7th. The Warriors finishing 6th. The Mavs finishing 5th. And then with home court advantage, I got the Denver Nuggets in 4th. The Utah Jazz in 3rd. The Lakers at 2nd. And number 1, I got the Suns. But I'm really unsure about the Suns, Lakers, and Jazz. What are you thinking, man? Because here's the thing. I'm thinking the Lakers are not going to be the number 1 seed because it's going to take time for this shit to gel. The Suns, though, I just feel like there's an injury to the big three bound to happen. I hate to say that. Not long term, not like missing the playoffs or anything, but like to miss 20 to 30 games. Because last season, when I did the Suns preview with Nothing But Suns, Chris Paul missed like 3 games, Devin Booker 5, Mikal missed 0, and DeAndre Ayton missed like 5 or something. Yeah. That's not going to happen. To my opinion, that's not going to happen again.
You don't think that like they're going to miss that few games?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened again, where they didn't miss they miss very few games and they play a really consistent basketball throughout the season. I'm kind of interested why you have the Clippers at 7.
Is that low or high?
I thought that was low, but I guess there's no Kawhi, right?
That may be being harsh on the Clippers. I think honestly we can finish anywhere between 4 to 7.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think 8 is the absolute lowest we can finish. Yeah. I think analysts and people think we're going to finish in the play-in spots though, no matter what. A lot of people. Not all. A lot of Clipper fans think we're going to finish higher, but I just don't think. Yeah. I think I had them 6th at first, but I'm thinking that the Warriors, just because Steph Curry. I know we have a better overall team, but Steph Curry, the thing is, if Paul George misses any amount of time without Kawhi, we're in trouble. That's my biggest thing.
And you cannot load manage Paul this year.
Well, I think they're going to sit him on certain back-to-backs, and here's the thing though, we had that next man up mentality last season. We just have to see if we have it this season. I just put him at 7, but I think we can finish literally 4th if we're amazing.
I think it's fair. I think it's a very fair. I was just interested because I think you guys will probably finish 6th or 5th. Personally,
Warriors or us?
Probably. When is Klay coming back?
That's the thing. I don't really know.
That's what it depends on.
Exactly.
I think that, I think Draymond's great, but there were times last season when he was too shy to score, and he's a dominant presence on the court. He's a great leader of the team, but Draymond, dude, you got to go get a bucket. I'm sorry, like I get the 10 rebounds and 10 assists and 8 points, dude. I'd rather you have 20 points and 12 rebounds and 6 assists and, run the team, but get a bucket.
You can't score 20 points, man.
Okay, fine.
A game, 13. Not a game.
13.
I was hoping for 10. But what, I mean...
I think Draymond is more than capable of scoring 13 points a game. And I think without Klay, it puts a lot of the scoring and a lot of the pressure on Steph. And, I think that the Clippers... I think if the Clippers can be consistent, if Paul George can play games, I really see you guys, anywhere between either 5th or 6th seed.
Well, that's my Western Conference. I think the Suns, you know what? I really don't know. You know what, Suns fans? I'll give you the first seed.
I think the Suns will be the first seed.
But Lakers 2nd, Jazz 3rd. But it could easily be Lakers 3rd, Jazz 2nd.
Yeah. I think it's going to be Suns, Jazz, Lakers, personally.
Maybe honestly better than what I picked on, probably. I'd probably say that, yeah. I don't know.
Russ and Bron are going to be, they're playing fun basketball in the preseason. I think when it comes down to it, they're gonna have a difficult time playing with each other in the beginning.
There's going to be load managing there.
A lot of load
With the
managing,
three of them.
a lot of inconsistent lineups, and it's gonna take time. And I think that the Lakers will be fine. They're my title favorites, I think. And but they'll finish third.
So let's go to the Eastern Conference, talk about the rest of the bottom feeders there. Here's who I've got finishing 13th, the Washington Wizards. I actually think they may be an exciting team to watch just because they made a big trade, sending Russ over to the Lakers and getting Kuz, who is just a wild card. He's redefined himself, though, in his role. He initially was a bucket getter, shot maker, and then he became a defensive rebounder, grit guy, hustle guy who just kind of shot a lot of threes and quick shots, sometimes contested, and it just doesn't really go in. And it doesn't look like he has any confidence in his offensive bag anymore.
I think that part of the reason Kyle Kuzma looked decent last year at times was, he played well, but because he was in the purple and gold. And players just, I don't know, you're on the Lakers, you're on the Lakers, like you're wearing a Lakers jersey, you're on the arguably greatest franchise in basketball, and he's on the Wizards, and suddenly now he's gonna look like even more of an idiot doing the stuff he already does in the preseason.
You don't think he's gonna get off?
Yeah, he has nights where he plays really well, he plays phenomenal basketball, and then he'll play on a Wednesday, he'll play phenomenal basketball, and then Friday he'll play like garbage. And he'll have like 5 turnovers, 2 points, and like 4 rebounds, and he'll just play bad basketball. So I don't think he's a reliable figure, like person on your team. Is he their second option?
No, well, look, I'm looking at this roster. They got some players. Denny Avdia is going to be in his second year. I actually really like Denny. He didn't really get used by Scott Brooks.
He got hurt, though.
Very well. Yeah, he got hurt, and then after just kind of was stuck in the corner feeding off of Russ and Beal's plate, really, and he has a lot of talent. They got Wes Unseld Jr. coaching their team now, which is awesome. Obviously.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, obviously, you guys know, watching Time Machine video, episode 1, Wes Unseld in the All-Star game. But it's awesome seeing his son, some of that, Wizards Bullets legacy.
Yeah.
But
I hope the changes in the coaching staff help the Wizards grow, because I like Bradley Beal. I think he deserves to win. I think he's a little bit of offensive liability, but other than that, he's a great player. He's really sticking it out in Washington. He deserves success there. Just as Damian Lillard deserves success in Portland, Bradley Beal deserves success in Washington, and I hope that this change will give it to him. Denny Avdia is definitely a really great player.
Rui Hachimura is another one as well, and Thomas Bryant. They got some young players. And then Daniel Gafford, who is very athletic and aggressive, on the boards, and a hustle player that they got from Chicago. And then Spencer Dinwiddie.
That's true.
They have some players. And then Montrader. He's a good player for a team like this, who's going to be hungry to prove himself, and he's going to score. And
I think Dinwiddie's going to get off this year. I think he's coming off of an injury. He has something to prove. He got kind of X'd out of the Nets. He was very good when he was on the Nets, and they're kind of like, all right, we don't really need you anymore. So it was just assumed that they were going to trade him. I personally wanted him to come to the Knicks. I really wanted to get Spencer Dinwiddie, because he's something special, and I forgot he was on the Wizards, to be honest.
They don't. The problem with this team is it's not a lot of defense going on here, and I think that
absolutely not.
They definitely needed to fire Scott Brooks. We had them as a dime dropper team last year. I talked about a lot of the things Scott Brooks just didn't do right, and I'm not saying he's a terrible coach, but he didn't do a good job with the Wizards.
Not a good coach.
Huh?
He's definitely not a good coach.
Well, he didn't do a good job with the Wizards. I'll say that, but I think this team has the potential to maybe sneak into the play-in, but I doubt they finish better than Toronto or Charlotte. I had them 13th, but
they'll be 13th
just because of defense. Davis Bertans, another guy, he can he can shoot, but sometimes he can really slump and he doesn't offer anything else.
No.
So I got them finishing 13th. The 12th seed, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
They got one of our USC guys, Evan Mobley.
Tall.
He's lanky, athletic, can handle the ball. Not from what I've seen, too much of a post-up guy, more of, face-up. He reminds me kind of like how Marvin Bagley was at Duke. Yeah. But you know what? We're going to see how he does. I'm hoping the best for him. Colin Sexton, talented player. A lot of drama surrounding his name all the time about like him and stats and what people say about him. A GM came out or something and said he was selfish or just blatantly. Darius Garland, shifty player. Again, though, same issue for me. I don't really know how much defense there is and how all these pieces fit. Same with the Wizards. I don't know how all these pieces fit. A lot of names.
Yeah, I mean, it was last season when they beat the Nets back to back, and Sexton went nuts.
I remember that.
I mean, they definitely have hoopers.
Jared Allen.
They definitely have hoopers. They're a tall team. They're a decent team. I think 12 is.
Lauri Markkanen, Kevin Love,
12.
Ricky Rubio now. Like it's just a hilarious team.
Yeah, 12 seed is right for them.
Looks like their starting lineup is going to be Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Isaac Okoro is in his second season, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. They have Kevin Love, Jetty Osman. It's a weird team. Yeah, I think 12 is right, but I could easily see the Wizards being better than them.
Yeah, I could also see the Cavs being better than we expect.
I agree as well.
Sexton,
I definitely could. Maybe Sexton and Garland take another leap.
Okoro's a good defender.
Maybe Mobley's the rookie of the year.
Markkanen's nice.
He's not that nice.
He's decent. Markkanen's nice.
He can score, but I don't think so. He's like Porzingis to me.
He's better than Porzingis.
I don't know about that. He offers nothing on the defensive end, whereas Porzingis at least offers defensively. And there's a reason the Bulls shipped him out. Like, this dude is just a tall guard, man. He just sits in the perimeter and shoots.
He's just a tall guard, but I think he's decent. I like him.
All right.
I watched a decent amount of him last year because I just was for some reason watching Bulls games, and then when we would play them, he was always an issue. He gets off. Decent player.
All right. Well, I got them finishing 12th, and then obviously I'd said the Hornets 11th.
Yeah.
Toronto 10th, Pacers 9th, and that's all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna end it off. So I'll just throw the East out there for you. 15th Magic, 14th Pistons, 13th Wizards, 12 Cleveland, 11 the Charlotte Hornets. Sorry, Hornets fans. Making the play-in spots, I got the Toronto Raptors at 10, the Pacers at 9, Chicago Bulls at 8, 76ers at 7 because it's a toss-up. Sorry, Sixers fans. You can easily finish higher than that if this all gets sorted out, but I don't know. I feel like hating because you have Glenn Rivers as your coach. I'm sorry.
You really have the Sixers that low?
No, I just don't know where to place them because I don't know what's going on with Ben Simmons. If it's not Ben Simmons, what if Embiid's injured?
Yeah, fair.
You know what I mean? Like, then they're screwed.
I mean, it seems like Simmons is going to play.
We'll see about that. 6th, the Knicks. 5, I got the Celtics. 4, the Atlanta Hawks. 3, Miami Heat. But I'm tempted to switch those and put the Hawks 3rd just because they already know each other better. So, I don't know. Take your pick with that Heat and Hawks. I'll say Hawks 3rd, Heat 4th. And then the Nets 2nd and the Bucks 1st. So, we're going to end it off with our predictions. Who's your Rookie of the Year?
Oh, probably Giddey.
Giddey on the Thunder?
Giddey or Jalen Green.
Yeah.
I think Jalen Green already has that poise. He's already used to playing against grown men. Both of them are. Cade Cunningham's great, but he's playing for the Pistons, and I don't think he's. I think, he's gonna have a hard time there. I think it's obviously adjusting to losing is hard for all of these guys because some of them have never come off the bench before. Some of them have never lost really.
Yeah.
In their careers, so it'll be interesting to see how these guys adjust to losing. But yeah, I think it's probably gonna be between Giddey and Jalen Green. I think they have the most poise and most.
I'll go with Jalen Green as well. Let's go with Coach of the Year. I think that's really hard to predict, honestly, because we don't know what teams are going to finish.
It just depends on what teams make the jump. I wouldn't be surprised if Nate McMillan wins Coach of the Year. Especially if I think you have the Hawks.
Pacers coach? Oh, no, the Hawks coach.
I think you have the Hawks a little high personally, but, you're entitled to your opinion.
You think you're better than them?
What?
You think the Knicks are better than them?
No.
Okay.
But I think you have us below the Celtics. We're definitely better than the Celtics.
That's going to be an interesting one.
Absolutely better than the Celtics.
We'll see what happens with that one.
But
I got to trust my boys from Beantown.
Yeah, we're absolutely better than the Celtics. I mean, we were better than the Celtics last year, and we got better this year.
So the Celtics were hampered by COVID and injuries last year. This year they have way more depth, and they have a new coach, and it could. Their best player is better than your best player.
Yeah, but our team is better than their team.
Last year it was, but we'll see about this year.
We'll see.
Anyway.
But yeah, Coach of the Years, I think would probably be Nate McMillan. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Monty.
Hey, if the Celtics do well, Ime Udoka will have a chance. And if the Clippers do better than expected, Ty Lue's gonna have definitely a chance.
But for me, it's either me, Nate McMillan, or Monty Williams. I think Monty Williams was very, very, very arguably coach of the year last year. Like Tibbs deserved it, absolutely, like hands down. But Monty Williams really is a phenomenal coach. It's if the Suns have as much success as they had last year, this year.
Yeah, like a top 2 seed. I have them.
Monty Williams. It's either
I have them 1, so I'd say you probably that's my pick, Monty Williams.
And Nate McMillan turned the Hawks around. I mean, they were a dumpster fire before he came there, and he made them into the team they were, and are a damn good team.
Nate McMillan is a good shot for coach of the year too, but I'm gonna go with Monty. Let's talk about defensive player of the year.
Defensive player of the year.
It's kind of random. They usually give it to bigs, I feel like.
Generally. I mean, it's just tough because, defense isn't that heavy anymore in the league.
If Anthony Davis is healthy, I think he could...
He's not going to be defensive player of the year.
Why are you so adamant about that?
He's too soft.
He's too soft, but he's great at defense in this NBA.
Yeah,
but... Any era, he'd be great at defense.
He'd be great at defense, but AD's too afraid of contact.
I think that's more of an offense issue,
Yeah,
though.
but still...
What bigs actually try to bully him like that?
Nobody, but I just don't think he's going to be defensive player of the year.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think he has that dog in him anymore to be defensive player of the year.
I don't know, man. People have been talking a lot about him lately. The safest pick for defensive player of the year for me, honestly, is Giannis. Yeah. Because I just know he's going to bring it every single night.
The thing is, Giannis has that dog in him that AD does not have.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with Giannis. But I also think Clint Capella is a sleeper if the Hawks do as well as I
Clint Capella. I mean,
block shots, man.
If the Hawks are the 3rd seed, Nate McMillan is coach of the year and Clint Capella is defensive player of the year.
Fair enough. Okay, I'm going to go with... obviously, he who shall not be named, Rudy Escar-Gobert, actually, I just named him, is also always going to be in the running. But I'm going to go with Giannis, getting his 3rd defensive player of the year?
Yeah.
No, 2nd, right?
Yeah, 2nd.
Yeah.
Maybe 3rd.
2nd defensive player of the year, I believe.
All right. Giannis is definitely deserving.
How about most improved? That's kind of a random one, but I'm going to go with OG Anunoby.
Interesting. Ooh, most improved. OG Anunoby's a good one.
Another one to watch, we talked about with Asher was Jordan Poole for the Warriors. If the Warriors do well, I think he could really be in that mix.
Yeah, because he's going to have to step up big while Clay's out too. Ooh, that's good. 6 man. Oh, sorry. The most improved. Yeah, OG Anunoby's a good one.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to make a lot of steps. They're back home. Are they playing in Canada?
Yes, sir.
So they're back home. He's going to have a good year. And he's a good player.
Last but not least, MVP. It's very hard. Very hard.
MVP of the league.
I don't think it's going to be a Laker.
No, it's not going to be a Laker.
I don't see it being Devin Booker, but I think he has a chance if the Suns finish top 2. Mm-hmm. Jokic, I think, will be right in that mix again. Giannis will be in that mix again. Do you see a net winning it?
No. I think Embiid could win. I think this year is going to be really telling for him as a leader and as a player. And I mean, I'm surprised you have them so low because they are such a good team in the East. And because now the MVP is such a narrative-driven award. And if the Sixers have success this season, considering everything they've dealt with Ben Simmons, which makes no sense why he would act like this because he was the person at fault. I mean, let's face. I mean, Glenn Rivers is Glenn Rivers, but dude, you were garbage in the playoffs. Let's just call a spade a spade. And if he comes out and the Sixers play as well as they're capable of playing, and he can play 75 games, Embiid is scary, dude. And he could be a defensive player of the year candidate too.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's a dog, and so I'm gonna say Embiid.
Okay, I think another guy that we have to consider is Steph Curry. I think if the Warriors finish with a great record, he can be it. And Luka Doncic, of course.
No, Luka's not gonna be MVP.
But based on where I have these teams placing,
that's just the narrative.
I have the Bucks 1, so I'm gonna go with Giannis getting his 3rd MVP.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's Embiid.
Fair enough.
I think the Sixers are going to be pretty solid this year. So I'm going to say it's Embiid.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for the previews. I hope you enjoyed all of them with the various fans. Lakers and Clippers coming tomorrow. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Dime Dripper Podcast. Follow us on all platforms at Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Dime Dripper Pod. And let us know what you thought of our picks. Are we sleeping on your team? Are we being too harsh on some of these teams? Or are we right? Do you guys agree with what we're saying? Let us know in the comments. Peace.
Peace.